welcome to Voices Unheard, a special edition for International Children's Day of Broadcasting, which falls every year on the first Sunday of March. This year's theme says, Children's Voice, Children's Right, Our Responsibilities. Today we want to take a stand for our rights and our education, especially kids like us in rural areas and communities. I am Albertina Muzehi, your host. Before we go into the main introduction, let's take a look at this clip.
Hi everyone, my name is Janet. Today I want to show you what life is like for me and my friends in the village. It's different from what you might see in the city, but it's still pretty awesome. See this is how we play. We don't have fancy toys, but we use our imaginations and make the most of what we have. We climb trees, run barefoot in the fields, and tell stories under the stars. It's fun, even though sometimes it gets dusty. But listen, getting to school isn't always easy. Sometimes it's a long walk, like kilometers long. The sun beats down and sometimes we get tired. But we know education is important, so we keep going step by step. Our school might not be fancy with walls made of mud and a roof of dry grass, but it's our learning space. We listen to our teachers, write in our notebooks, and dream of big things. We want to be doctors, teachers, maybe even astronauts. Sometimes things can be tough, like when the water pumps break and we have to drink from the stream. We know it's not the cleanest, but it's what we have. We wish for clean water, for better facilities, for things that make learning easier. But you know what? We are strong, we are happy, we love our families, our community, and our beautiful land. We may not have everything you have, but we have each other and we have hope. This is our story. This is our voice. We want the world to see us, hear us, and help us build a future where every child, no matter where they live, has the chance to learn, grow, and dream big. Together, we can make a difference. Join us. Raise your voice. Let's make the world a better place for every child.
Welcome back. Joining me today are some amazing young journalists from young journalist clubs across Pemba in Southern Province, who are going to introduce themselves.
My name is Abednego Haji Salama, a young journalist from Pemba District.
My name is Hita Sinzi, a young journalist from Pemba District.
My name is Believe Vladimbo, a young journalist from Pemba District.
Hi everyone, my name is Jovola Munga, a young journalist from Pemba Secondary.
Hi, my name is Benjamin, a young journalist.
Hi, my name is Tafara Masuka, a young journalist from Pemba District.
Thank you. Are you guys ready to get loud?
Yes.
Let's talk about what life is really like for many of us in rural communities. We are supposed to have equal rights to education, but the truth is that things are not so fair. Let's take a look at this clip.
Hi, my name is Cindy. Today I'm reporting live at Kalwa Primary School, which is over 50 kilometers from Pemba District Administration. This school is amazing, but is facing some challenges. As International Children's Day of Broadcasting, it is a day of voicing out our issues and raising awareness. I'll allow my friend who's from here to tell us the experience that she's facing.
We wake up around 04 a.m. to get ready for school and arrive by 7 a.m. When we find our friends already learning, we feel tired and sometimes we doze off in class. One of the challenges we face is that children, especially girls, must walk long distances to school in unsafe conditions.
magana kuti munzira kwali kujanika abantu babanyonganya kuenderanya busena mbobuli bulahu bamwe bana bali kujatwa munzira ndiza muhingi kwali kuhakujatwa bana batalero ku 6 na 8 kambo musinzo wali mulahu maningi top so bana bajiri mulijirija hobe aja kuti alimu agwenda bali kuzwa ndiza uma 04 tegwa akasike mujindi yerete kujikolo kuyonjera uma 7 bali kuzwa kuno uma 04 kuya kujikolo so kwali buyu muyu mumujindi jahola kuli tronga twali kulangirwa kuti bana ngakwali kungankhuza buhabya tegwa bakajiko hekusika kujikolo.
Our main challenge is absenteeism by some learners. Most learners here don't usually come to school because they come from far distances. Most of them, they walk more than 5 kilometers to this school. If you look around here, there is no village which is seen. So I think the nearest village here is about 2 kilometers from the school. So even young learners, like those who are in preschool, they move those distances. So because of that, most of them, they opt not to come to school.
These are the stories that we heard from fellow children from our primary school. And it is important to remember that every child has the right to quality education and the right to behave. For now, sit back, relax, and enjoy our stories on International Children's Day of Broadcasting. For now, we go back to the studio.
Welcome back. Let's talk about the distance that a rural child needs to walk for her to reach at school. As we have already seen you, Cindy, reporting in that clip, have you ever had an experience for such a situation before? How is this issue relatable to you?
Okay, thank you. As you have already seen from the clip, I personally didn't experience that. Instead, I saw some of my friends who cover those long distances. It is really touching to find that a child who's just maybe 7 years is covering those long distances, about 10 to 15 kilometers a day. So those children, they cover those distances and they get discouraged to go to school. So the only thing that really impressed me is that those children, despite of the situations, the distances they cover, they never give up on school. They are really interested in school.
Thank you very much. Believe?
Yes, thank you so much. We have seen that education is very important. Education is very essential. But when it comes to issues of long distances bring a lot of discouragements. You see, whereby, as Cindy has already said, somebody starts off home around 04, then they're expected to arrive at school maybe at 7, then they delay a bit, maybe they arrive at school at 9, where they have already found the teacher is already in class, he has already started teaching. You know, it's very discouraging for them because they feel as if, they feel left out. You know, whereby you have to walk about 14 kilometers to school, and again 14 kilometers going back home. So it's very discouraging. This is where we see that on the way to school, some pupils even divert. Others, they even go to the bushes to go do drugs. Others go and start smoking. You know, it's because of the discouragement of the distance they have to cover every day. To a pupil, they will think to themselves, no, why do I have to walk all these long distances when I can just give up on school and start doing something else? So it's very discouraging for us. These are real experiences that we are facing right now.
Thank you very much, Tafara.
As you have already heard from the clip, there's a man who said, because of the long distance, the girls there on their way to school, because of the long distance, they get raped. He has even given an example, almost in a week, maybe 8 or 15 girls get raped. Now, imagine that girl who walks every day to go to school in long distance. She'll just get discouraged. What if I get raped on my way to school? She'll stop going to school. She'll get discouraged and she'll just stop going to school. And then because of her fearing to be raped or having a teenage pregnancy while she's young.
Yeah.
Yes, just to add on, the similar situation she mentioned is also common in boys. You see, where a boy child now gets discouraged of the long distance that they face every day going to and from school, they'll just say, no, what's the point of me going to school when I can just start a business? A certain school, now there is a certain village where they do sugarcane plantation. And the nearest school to that village is about It's about 10 kilometers. So most of the parents there discourage their children. They say, why would you walk 10 kilometers going to school when you can just water these sugar canes, you know, and we make money. So them, they just water the sugar cane. After watering the sugar cane, they even get discouraged. They even start marrying early. You see, there is a situation where a boy who's 16 already has a wife. A boy who's 18 has 3 wives. You see, that's because of the discouragement that they get, you know, for having to walk a long distance. Then they say, why walk a long distance when we can just live our lives like this? So you see, those are the discouragement that we face.
Adding up on what everyone said, as we have already seen in this clip, they mentioned about those children who cross bridges. Long distance also leads to less concentration in class. Like when pupils tend to go to schools at early like 04. Sometimes like when it is rain season, you find out that crossing the bridges, they are full and they'll be forced to come back home. When they come back home, the teacher won't wait for them that just because this one has come back home, we'll stop teaching. They'll continue teaching and they will miss a lot of things. Yes, in class. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's talk about how the level of poverty is very high in rural areas.
Our main challenge is that we leave home without breakfast, which makes it difficult to concentrate in class.
That's why I like to go about computer Ponya ari chimbichanda kwa madeski anachikolo tatujisi. Vana kulemba munini mumakilasi vakhala ansi. That's why usamugrade wani muntu taji kulemba handwriting iliwo kuti njamwana but muntu uli mu grade 6. Handwriting kuti njamwana mgalemba kambaka kukhala ansi handwriting ngatala akapota.
Vana vachikoro kuri kuyi muyu machikoro. Ari mubuyu mubupati banji barachireka chikora akutarika kukweba kuenda kukwata vana vachikoro kavachiri vanini. Muntu asikamburi line ya grade 10 or 9 varakwata ndiza kurejanikide uri kweti vamakantu votatwe ovuviro. So ino miwo mukuyeya kwangu seyandikureka chikoro nokuva kuti kuri buyu muyu muko ndiyada kuti ndizumana nambe nkakuve dhokota mburi mbwevona vambi vatusirika muibhadhera. Abo vana vachikoro vanji vakareka kuiya akamboka buyu muyu buri kahikoro ivanji vatumwa kumagadheni koya mina nzimbe konya kwa kumagadheni atumwa vana kuti mazovahora ngatangi kuchikoro uri mwapo kuenda kuti areke is better wakwata.
Welcome back. Benjamin, what do you have to say about this issue?
Thank you very much. Poverty is a challenge for most rural areas, that rural children that go to school. And poverty also leads to hunger. And children who don't go with food to school face a lot of difficulties in concentrating on what the teacher is talking about. And I can even imagine myself going to school without food. I feel hungry, but imagine a child the whole day at school. And they also get discouraged because they remember about the distance that they traveled here with an empty stomach, also the distances are going to travel back. So that's really a challenge for children.
Thank you very much, Big Nego.
Okay, thank you very much. For me, I'll just add up on what Benjamin has already said. You know, as from rural areas, our parents are not that much settled. We find that our parents are poor, so they can't afford to feed us 3 meals, 5 meals a day. So we find that we just eat, maybe per day we just eat 1 meal. Then tomorrow we are expected to go to school, and while still very hungry, we are expected to concentrate on education. So this is a challenge for us pupils from rural areas, because you can't compare us to those in towns. Their parents are settled, they have money, so maybe they eat 3 times a day, 5 times a day, so they are settled, so they'll concentrate more than us on education. So this is also a challenge to us in rural areas.
Thank you very much. Let's talk about these challenges of not having enough computers in rural schools. Chiwale, what do you have to say?
Thank you very much. As for me, I can say, of course, not having computers in rural areas, it is a challenge for us. You know, let's take for instance, at a certain school in a rural area, you find that there are only 1 computer over 150 pupils. And you know that computer studies is a practical study.
Yes.
As for, take for instance, grade 9s, before they even write their exam, they have to do practice. And the marks for computer studies for practice is 30%. So imagine that if a child doesn't take practice for computer studies, these all 30 marks will go in vain. And the same 30 marks is very important for a child, you know. So this also leads to less concentration in class.
Thank you very much. Tafara, what's your comment?
I'm just going to add on what Chiwola said.
Yes.
She said pupils in schools, like they just learn, especially in rural areas, in the villages. They'll just tell them, the teacher will just tell them, no, this is how the heart looks like. They don't even know how the heart looks like. They just tell them to imagine, no, the heart has got 4 chambers. But let's compare a child from town. They'll show them on the projector, this is how the heart looks like. This is how the blood passes, where the blood passes, everything they're going to show them. And then by the end of the day, they'll still write the same exam. How do you expect the child from the village to pass? Yes, that's all I can say.
Thank you very much, Cindy.
Okay, to look at what Chiwola and Tafara have mentioned, they have mentioned on the exam part, on the benefit for the exam. But it's not only that, but it's also a benefit for a child for future use, for their own good. For a child who is in a rural area, it's not always that they'll be there. Of course, when they complete their school, they'll have to go to universities. And when they go there, they'll be given some assignments. So maybe that assignment, they need to Google, they need to research something. So how can a child who comes from a rural area research when they don't have any access to any computer or phone from their background?
Yes, just to add on what these have said, also as Chiwola here said that computer studies is a practical subject. Yes, computer studies is a practical subject, but let us also look at the issue of power. You see, in most village schools, power is a very big problem. And you see, you can't operate a computer without electricity, or you can't operate a computer without power. Let's say somebody maybe relies on solar panels.
Yes.
Then let's see, maybe you know how the weather is. You know, the weather changes from time to time. Maybe there is cloud cover, then there is then that means that for the day, those people won't access the computer. And as she said, maybe there are only 2 computers against what? 150 pupils. That some pupils even go until they write their final exam without even touching a computer, without ever touching a computer. When the teacher is teaching about computer studies, maybe just draws the monitor on the board. The pupils don't touch it, they don't see it. He draws the CPU, they don't touch it, they don't see it. Then how do you expect them to pass when they're about to write the same exam? When they're writing the same exam with somebody who was born in town, somebody who was as young as, there are some kids as young as 6 years old in town. They can teach you how to operate a phone. They give you a phone. Everything you ask about them, they can teach you on how to operate a phone. That means for those guys, they start from an early age. Yes. So from them compared to us, they are very much advanced. We are far way behind.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's what I can say.
Thank you very much. Does this mean that a rural child is dull or they don't have equal access to quality education? Let's take a look at this clip.
From my personal experience, I found that there are many disadvantages that are keeping learners in the rural areas from reaching their full potential. There are so many things that are blocking them from being able to perform, as well as those that are in the urban areas. I'll give an example of, just a general example of seed. If you take seed and place it on ground which is not fertile, that seed will not germinate, no matter how good it is. It has to be put in an environment where it is allowed to grow. So learners in the rural areas are just as intelligent. You will actually even find geniuses here, but they are not given the environment necessary to allow them to grow. What environment am I talking about? I'm talking about infrastructure. I'm talking about access to teaching and learning materials such as computers. Many schools in rural areas can attest to the fact that they don't have the computers to learn. They don't have enough books, they don't have enough desks, and all those things, in addition to the hardships that we know that many people in rural areas face, starting from their households and the challenges that are peculiar to rural areas, such as early marriages and household poverty and lack of access to just the basic facilities that are available in urban areas. So because of that, we find that the results in the rural setup always seems to be less than that in the urban setup.
Everyone is intelligent. No one should say only those in town are intelligent. When we do assessment, most of those managers in town, they are from the villages, except that they excelled. They concentrated. They took advantage of their environment, which is conducive, and they became what they are. So even you, everyone in the rural area can be. And so I'm saying, let them take advantage of the opportunities that has been given. The government has built more classrooms, more learning space. The desks are being provided. Like in Pemba, we have a lot of schools with mechanized water and waterborne toilets. Very clean, not congested. So what else do we want?
Thank you very much. As we have already heard, is really a rural child dull, or it's just that things are not so fair sometimes to rural kids? Guys, what are your opinions? We start with you, Benjamin.
Thank you very much. It's not that children, for us children in rural areas are dull. I repeat, we are not dull. It's sometimes because we don't have materials to use. Like for example, we don't have textbooks. Textbooks are very important to help us after we learn in class, we go and research, and also library facilities. And we find that a child who comes from an urban area has all of that. They have computers, they also have libraries to do their research, also textbooks. So how do you expect a child coming from a rural area who doesn't have those qualifications or those facilities to help them, for reals, they can bring out a poor performance. So it is not because we are down, we don't have the facilities to support us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Believe, what's your contribution?
Thank you so much. We are not down. We are not down. You see, what differentiates our performance with those people, with kids in towns, is the environment. You heard what the teacher said when he spoke about a conducive environment. So you see, a conducive environment will bring out the best in a child. You see, we saw earlier on the clip where pupils had to sit down, like literally sitting down. They don't have desks. And when you compare those children to people in urban areas where they have desks, some even have comfortable chairs where they sit from. And as well, but we have to sit down. Other schools, they even write on the floor, where pupils write on the floor. You know, it's the environment itself is not conducive. So if we were given a conducive environment, a conducive platform, I'm sure we could have shown our best. We could have shown our best. You could have seen our efforts, but we just need a conducive environment. There are some pupils back in rural areas who are even, let me not be judgmental, but let me say who are even better than those pupils in urban areas if they're given a platform to learn from. So all we like is a conducive environment. Otherwise, we can show you that we can also be like pupils in urban areas.
Thank you very much. Chiwala, what's your contribution?
Thank you very much. I think just to add up on what they have all said, let's take for instance, you plant 2 seeds. The other one, you always water it every time. Manure, put everything. And the other one, maybe you always water it after 2 days. Or maybe let's say you don't even water it. Of course, what do you think is the quickest plant will germinate and grow very fast? Of course, the plant the seed that you've planted and water very well, it will germinate very fast. Now just take it that our pupils as well from the village are the seeds. So if you can help, if these kids are really helped in things of what they've already said, the environment, you know, even if it's not that we are down, it is that because the environment that we are is very bad. You can't expect a child who sits on the floor, like when it's June, it's very cold. Even the concentration will be low. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bednego, it's your contribution.
Okay, thank you very much. As for me, it's not that as from rural areas we are down, but you'd find that we don't have time. For example, some of the things that contributes to good performance is educational clubs. So you'd find that as from rural areas, we cover long distances to reach home, but the time we can find to have those clubs is after classes. So when you knock off after classes, we do not have that time to go into the various clubs and discuss in clubs like JETS, so STARS, and Mathematics Club and other clubs. So this is also a challenge to us, because if we are able to join those clubs, we can learn 1 or 2 things which can help us when the exam comes. So this is also a challenge. It's not that we are down.
I think just to add up, they say that motivation also nurtures someone. So I think in rural areas we don't have a lot of motivation that is coming from our parents and also our communities. You find that a child doesn't do very well in a certain subject, but they don't show that interest that you should do this so that you should aim higher marks. They will be just seated, and the child will also feel like, I think where I am right now is the best thing, but meanwhile it isn't at all. So I think motivation also leads to success to us rural areas. And those in urban areas, the kids, they have a lot of games that keep them sharp. They also have recreation facilities that can sharpen their mindset. And so we don't have the fair education standard.
Just to add on also on what everyone has said, I think also when it comes to us being intelligent, I think we also need role models. You see, many pupils from urban areas, they see their friends, maybe they see people, different people maybe driving all these expensive cars, and you know, once they see that, they get interested. They even start making goals in life. They say, no, me one day, I want to buy that type of car, that type of car. No, me one day, let's talk about role models. They say, no, me one day I want to be like this man, this man. One day I want to be like, maybe for the girls, they say, no, one day I want to be like that lady. Now, looking at us, you see, the person, our role models, maybe we say we have role models. Maybe our role models drives a canter. Let's say our role models don't even do anything. You know, it brings a lot of discouragement. It's better if you aim your dreams high after you have seen something that will motivate you to accomplish them, than just sit around and wait to be told to go do something. You know, role models also matter. We need role models. We need a lot of role models. We need a lot of inspiration. Then we can truly prove to the world, we can truly prove to the nation that even us, despite of our background, we can also make it in life. The issue of role models is also very important.
Thank you very much. What are some ways to bridge the gap to ensure equal access to quality education? Let's take a look at this clip.
As World Vision, we have different programs that we are using for child protection. For example, we are working in the schools with the different children clubs in the schools to ensure that children are protected. The Junior Journalist is one of the initiatives where these children can go out and gather information from their friends and engage their school authorities to ensure that children are protected in school. We are also working with the Impact Plus clubs. Mostly we are working with the out-of-school youths in the communities. We mobilize them, bring them together, train them in issues of reproductive health and comprehensive sexuality, so that they're able to protect themselves. What we're getting from the Ministry of Health is that we're having a lot of teenage pregnancies, and not only teenage pregnancies, but also high numbers of sexually transmitted diseases, because these boys and girls are not protecting themselves. So all these are issues of child protection, and we are making sure that we bring them to the table for discussion and come up with interventions in how to protect our children in the district. The committee is doing a great job so far, and we are getting a lot of support from our faith leaders and as well as our traditional leaders to ensure that children in this district are protected from all the harms and dangers that pertain to the children.
Thank you very much. As young journalists, what role have you played to help the voiceless? What's your appeal to the government? Start with you, Cindy.
Okay, so we as young journalists, we play an important role in society. For example, we sensitize through the media. Let's say, for instance, this day, the International Children's Day of Broadcasting. We are broadcasting. It's because we are not able to reach out to all those in all areas, because it's not every area that has young journalists who will be able to report on matters that are happening in their communities. So we're able to sensitize, to broadcast through the media. And we also recommend, yes, quite right, to thank the government and World Vision for the efforts they are putting in our group. but also recommend for children's studios where we'll be able to have more access to our own studio. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Begnego, what's your contribution?
As for me, I think we have to ask the government and other well-wishers from outside countries like the World Vision and other NGOs to introduce feeding programs in rural areas, so that in schools from rural areas, so that those pupils who go hungry to school can at least eat something so that they can concentrate on school. This is all I can say.
Thank you very much, Benjamin.
Thank you very much. Us as young journalists, I think we are doing a lot to reach out to those kids that need help. One of that is bringing those children in early marriages and teenage pregnancy back to school. I have one friend who got married when she was just about to write her grade 9, and me and my fellow friends went there and encouraged her, and she gladly accepted the offer and went back to school. And it came a time of writing the exams. She went in the hospital and wrote her exam. The last paper she delivered to a boy, and the boy is also fine, and the girl has gone back to school. She's now doing her grade 11 now. So I think as young journalists we are doing a lot to reach out to those kids. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Believe, what's your comment?
Oh yes, as young journalists, we are, we have been asking for help. In fact, we are still pressuring the people around us, like the Debs, the World Vision. We are telling them, we are making them aware of the issues that we face every day. And right now, I'm appealing to the government and these NGOs or any stakeholders to actually consider the issue of long distances. We acknowledge what CDF has been doing in building schools, in bringing desks and renovating some places. We are acknowledging their works. Thank you so very much for those works. But even though schools have been built, there is still that law that CDF brought on saying that every after 5 kilo, at least a school should be built at least about 5 kilometers from a particular village. But yes, we have acknowledged your works, but still that distance is still a bit long for a child. Just imagine a child who is in baby class. Let's say a child who is in grade 1, a child who is 5 years old. They have to walk 5 kilometers going to school, 5 kilometers coming back from school. Putting all that together, that's 10 kilometers. And we're talking about a child here. So we are kindly asking if at least you could reduce that 5 kilometers, at least make it somewhere to 2 kilometers, or if not 2 kilometers, at least make it 1.5. But we have acknowledged your work. So if there are any stakeholders there ready to listen to us and who have appealed to you, government, we are kindly asking for you to reduce those kilometers to at least a bit, considering those small children that cover those distances.
Thank you very much. Chiwale, what's your contribution?
As for me, I can say, as young journalists, we have been playing a big role in helping these girls in rural areas. Like, we follow cases. Even if we hear a case that a child has been married off, abused, raped, we follow cases and we report to the people who train us as young journalists. We report them, and this case will be investigated thoroughly, and that person will be healed. And as for us young journalists, we are only asking for, maybe they can help us with, including other helping as in protecting of a child organization like victim support. We are only asking for that if they can help us so that we can protect a girl child because it is very important for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tafara, what's your comment?
Us as young journalists are really playing a big role. Like thanks to the World Vision that made for us a group for young journalists where we go in villages there, we help our friends. Even in schools, they make for us programs where we have time to sensitize our friends, to tell them education is very important to us. We even tell them our rights. They know about our rights.
Thank you very much. Cindy, any contribution?
Okay, so looking at what we've all discussed, we appreciate the things that government has done.
Yes.
And we as young journalists, on this day, International Children's Day of Broadcasting, we've raised the issues that we have in our communities. And we're kindly asking that for the recommendations that we've made, maybe they may be reached out by government and other organizations.
Thank you very much. It is true that things need to change. And guess what? We have the power to make that happen. Remember, the International Children's Day of Broadcasting was Children's Voice, Children's Rights, Our Responsibilities. Today we have shown that even though we face challenges, we also have the courage and the power to demand change. Let's remember, education is our right, not a privilege. Let's keep our voices together, and together we can make a future where every child in Zambia has a chance to shine. From me and my friends in the studio, we say bye-bye.